Recently, my content manager, Ava Fales, had brought to my attention a new print-on-demand company. Actually, it's new to me. It's actually been in existence for quite a while now. The name is Vervante, and it got me to thinking, man, I should really look into this because we really need to see some type of alternatives out there to the KDPs and the Ingram Sparks of the world, because Lord knows we need more options, and not just any old options that can give us something different, a different way to fulfill orders, different types of orders, and even expanding beyond just the books. And that's what brings Vervante into the specific conversation we're having here. I reached out to the founder of the company. Her name's Cindy Tyler, and Cindy was elated to sit down and talk a little bit more about her platform called Vervante. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to Cindy Tyler. All right, Cindy, we've already been talking for about a couple of minutes and we've hit it off really, really well. I'm just excited to be able to talk to the founder and CEO of Vervante. Now, let me make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Am I?
You did. Perfect.
Nice. Look, I deserve a break. Let's just go ahead and call it a day. So all joking aside, my content manager, as I'd shared with you, Ava, had reached out to me and said, hey, had you checked out this platform called Vervante for fulfilling your self-published books? And I was like, no. And so I did some digging and oh my gosh, your company has just about everything we can think of, everything from books to cards to thumb drives to everything else. In a elevator pitch, if somebody were to say, hey, what's Vervante about, Cindy, what would you say?
I would say it's for products, printed products, whether that's physical paper or, like you said, flash drives, that you need created, printed, and distributed. So we're not just a printer, but we also do fulfillment. So you can sell from your website, sell from Amazon. We do the printing and the drop shipping.
Very cool. Now, is this print on demand, or am I purchasing everything else in advance and then you guys fulfill the orders for us?
Good question. It depends. So some products, it makes sense to print on demand, especially if it's a new product. You don't know what you're forecasting. Most of the time, for some of our products, it makes sense to print a small batch because it's just, with paper costs these days, it just makes a lot more sense to print a small batch. Then we hold it, and then when you send us orders, we pull from our warehouse and drop ship it. So,
what specific items do we need to be aware of that would require a small bulk order and ones that don't?
So things like a hardcover book or specialized, anything like we do a lot of specialized add-ons like foil stamping or some sort of coating on the cover. Some of our binding processes just don't make sense to offer print on demand, but the minimum batch for most of our products is 25. So it's not like you got to print thousands or hundreds. It's a small batch. So it just makes a lot of sense for some of the printing applications and bindery that print on demand just isn't cost effective.
That makes sense. You don't want to be starting up this whole printing press to just churn out one deck of cards and then be done with it. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, speaking of, we started off like just talking about having this option to print out cards, and you started sharing some more insights on it. I'm super excited about it because I'm looking at starting a Kickstarter campaign, and that's going to probably be one of the things I'm going to be adding into that Kickstarter campaign as a perk. So share with me about cards. How did you guys get into the business of printing cards, and who is this for?
Right. Cards, we've really stayed true for 24 years to our true core. We started out as a book printer. This is before Amazon, KDP, CreateSpace, although we were just a print-on-demand paperback book company. But then as things evolved and other people got into the space, we tried to figure out where can we still use our core competency but provide other products. So if you think back like 24 years ago, 22 years ago, that was when really the internet and people became entrepreneurs and were creating their home study courses. We did a lot of DVDs and CDs on demand and home study courses where you get these binders and you get your DVDs to watch. So it really still was printing and distributing, but just different content. So then as things have evolved over the years, card decks just became this really popular product. Now, they can be a standalone product where you're just selling a card deck, or they're often a complementary product, right? Like you've got a book, but you want to pull out the nuggets from the book and create a card deck. So you get the book and the card deck. Or it's a training program. You get a workbook and a deck of cards. So they shuffle through the cards, or it's just a card deck. So it still makes sense because it's still printing, it's still paper, and it's still exactly what we started off doing 24 years ago. So card decks, I think I was telling you, are our number 2 product. So we print tons of card decks, and the audience ranges from everything from kids. It's used a lot for academics, for therapy. We do a lot of coaching programs, like everything from, hey, I teach people how to write a book, but I've got a card deck that walks you through step by step how to write a book. So they're used and they're not just we have a lot of tarot cards where people want to create their own tarot deck, or oracle cards, or angel cards. I mean, we have thousands of beautifully designed card decks that range everything from just a little deck and maybe 30 cards to 100 cards. So it can be whatever you want.
This is really cool to hear, a very unique aspect to your company with the cards. So I'm sure, rather than me gushing about it, because I've got your catalog, by the way, I feel like it's the Sears Roebuck.
Yeah, right. It's
catalog.
fun.
Did you ever have one of those when you were a kid? You'd flip through it and you'd be like, I want this. I've already circled a couple pages. But you have so many unique products. We've discussed one of them. What would you say is another unique identifier of Vervante that establishes you apart from the rest of the print-on-demand companies?
Right. So I would say we did start off in print-on-demand. I think with KDP and some of the other print-on-demand companies, it's no longer where we really fit. So print-on-demand, especially for somebody like KDP, they've got that thing nailed down. It's an incredible program. You get worldwide exposure. You get in that worldwide distribution network. So if somebody is looking for a print-on-demand paperback book, I tell them all day long, KDP, it's a different quality. Our stuff is all handmade. Really, we've got a warehouse. Everything is literally handmade. We've got, lots of equipment, lots of binder equipment. But where we really fit is let's say it's one of your customers that's done a book on KDP, but now they want to add in a card deck or in a workbook or a journal. That's where we really shine, is because we offer so many different binding methods. Like spiral binding is very popular for us because there's not a lot of people that do print-on-demand spiral, which we do, or we do beautiful hardcover spiral, beautiful hardcover wire for like journals, planners, archival type products where you really want something to hold up for a long time. A lot of family history, a lot of things that are really beautifully done and you want a lot of love. So that's where we really shine, is that we're not mass producing in tens of thousands like you would order something overseas. If you want everything from a custom bookmark to a custom color ribbon marker to a specialized foil on the cover, and you want a pocket and you want all these different things, that's really where we shine. So we really hold your hand in understanding who's your audience, what's your product, what's your message, what are you trying to convey in this product, and then everything from the manufacturing process to how does it get wrapped up and shipped? Do we wrap it in tissue paper? Do we put a sticker on the box? Do we do a custom printed box? So it's really the whole experience for the customer, not just printing and then we ship it to you and you deal with your own drop shipping. We take care of all of that.
What has been the most challenging project you've had to do for a client to date? Because I'm sure you've had a few of them, because, you've been around this long. I'm sure you've run into one of them where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do it. But then you ended up doing it anyway.
Sometimes customers, so during COVID, honestly, paper was our biggest challenge. It was because of supply chain issues. And, I hate to say it, but we're still experiencing supply chain issues with paper. Because of the backlog of, everything changed for everybody during COVID. So the mills and access to paper, they shut down. They became different types of paper mills. They're not, making print paper for printing. They're making toilet paper, or something. So paper has been our biggest challenge. And we had a project during COVID where we printed this beautiful coffee table book. And she was interior designer, so she was very particular, and she wanted a specific look and feel. And we could not get white linen for the hardcover book. So we had to get really creative. We actually used a linen paper. So it's a paper that has a linen texture. And we did the cover in a paper linen versus an actual linen cover material. And it was one of those things where we're like, that we just didn't have any options because of the shortage of paper. But the book is stunning, gorgeous. It's a beautiful coffee table book for interior designers. It turned out beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably was one of those situations where you're kind of going, oh crap, what do? We don't have this linen.
Right.
So
And we
you had to
can't
probably
get
make
it.
a few calls.
Right. So next best thing, we sent her samples of, linen textured paper, and she was like, but we didn't have any options. We literally could not get paper.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the really awesome parts of Vervante. Let's go into the area that I think every author is going to probably ask when they watch this podcast and listen. And that's going to be, what's the royalties like? You've got distribution to Amazon, and obviously you have some self-fulfillment processes as well. So how much can authors anticipate to be paid per sale of, like, say, usually a book?
Okay, here's the very cool thing. We're not like a traditional publisher. We are kind of more of a printer fulfillment partner. So we give you a price to print X number of books. Let's say or a card deck. Let's say your card deck costs $5. You get to sell it for whatever you want. Whatever the difference is your profit / royalty. So it's a very different model than most people are used to, like the KDP model, where you set a retail price, they take their 40%, they deduct their printing costs, and you get the rest. This is very different. You get a much higher margin on products like this because we're not taking a percentage of your retail price. So we've got products where it might cost $5 to print it, but they're selling it for $95. So they're making $90 on a deal.
So you guys are only getting compensated through just printing the goods as opposed to for each one of the sales.
Exactly.
Interesting. So you guys don't get paid unless we make a sale. And in that instance, you end up having to take the print costs. And then from there, it's up to us on how much we want to earn.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Right.
I really like this model. And so when I distribute through Vervante to, say, like Amazon,
Yes.
you guys are only having to pay for the print costs. What about shipping?
Right. So we use Amazon Marketplace. So as opposed to like KDP, where it qualifies for Prime and it goes through their distribution model, with Amazon Marketplace, we're basically only using their catalog. So we're the fulfillment partner. So we list it in Amazon, we get the order, we do the distribution. Amazon takes 15%. The model's still the same. We're only charging the author for the cost of printing and then the fulfillment and postage. But Amazon Marketplace, they are going to charge the buyer for postage and they reimburse you for that. So it's kind of a wash. The postage is a wash. So it's basically you just have to think for like an Oracle deck or a card deck that you want us to list on Amazon, you just have to add in that extra 15% in your numbers to make sure that you're covering that 15% commission for Amazon.
Wow, this is really stellar. I like seeing this other model because it's not something we often see. And I'm really excited about it. And I find myself overwhelmed with questions right now. My big one's going to be this. I see a lot of listings for books where typically, let's say you're fulfilling through KDP. They'll give you two product images, usually the front cover and the back cover for a print book. But there are instances where we see other publications that are print and they'll show example pages. Is that something we're able to do through you guys?
9 other images. Yes.
Get out of town. Why haven't we talked a long time
No,
ago
we're
here,
talking
Cindy?
now. You're right. So yes. So with Amazon Marketplace, we can there's a main image and 8 other images. So we can actually show inside pages. We can show table of contents. Yeah. So we get 9 other images to upload there.
Oh my gosh, that is a real game changer. Is there any other like extra things that you guys do in making that product page pop?
So here's no the so here's the deal.
Okay.
The real I think for people listening, I think KDP is, like we said, is a great option for a paperback book.
Mhm.
What I think is important and why we're different is we really encourage our customers, authors, business owners to sell direct. I mean, everybody loves
Yeah.
Amazon, but you also want to build your list, right? And you want to know who your
Mhm.
buyers are. So if you sell direct, you can use any shopping cart. So whether that's Shopify or ThriveCart or PayPal, we
Mhm.
can you can set it up so that we get automatically notified. So you're selling your
Great.
Oracle deck or your card deck on your site. You set it up so we get automatic notification. We drop ship it to the buyer. All is good. If you use Marketplace, there's a couple things to think about. One, we ship from our warehouse in Utah. So from a postage standpoint, if you have a lot of international customers, got to kind of think about that. Amazon does charge different rates when you're a buyer on amazon.com. So they're going to charge more for Canada, they're going to charge more for international, but postage is expensive. So you just need to also
Mhm.
think about postage, and Amazon doesn't share the email address. So it's great, that exposure is great, but we really, I believe, as a business owner, building your own, having your own shopping cart solution and selling your products direct is a great way to go. And especially if we make it easy, you're not doing your own fulfillment, you're not shipping your own products, we take care of that. So I would say to just use Amazon or Etsy even. We have a lot of customers that have a lot of success on Etsy. Use those shopping carts and those storefronts as alternatives, as secondary, but do all your marketing and advertising, drive them to your own website, and then we'll do the
Mhm.
printing and fulfillment.
This is incredible. I really love the language you're speaking, being fully independent, putting the indie back into indie authors.
Exactly.
That's just tremendous.
Exactly.
What are some mistakes that you currently see beyond what we just discussed that indie authors are currently doing that they could possibly, you know, level up their
Right.
business by utilizing it?
So KDP again makes it super easy, and they make it really attractive where you think as a new author this is a great way to go, and it is, it truly is. But if you really
Mhm.
want a business, if you're not just doing a one-off book, which is great, if you just want to do that one book and get it out in the world and you're not trying to build a whole business and brand around it, then KDP is a phenomenal solution. But if you're really trying to build a business, a coaching business, a training business, a cookbook business, whatever it is, then you really probably want to spend a little more effort on building your brand and your website and create other products around just that book. So the book is a great lead magnet, a lead generator. But what about a workbook, a deck of cards, other additional products, whatever it might be? Then drive them to your website and build a whole business around. Usually, what I've found is that the book never ends with the book. The book, you don't stop there. It becomes something else. It becomes a journal, a workbook, whatever. So that's where we come in, where then we could do a bundle. You could take your book from KDP, put it in create a bundle where you got a workbook or a training product, and we put the book with it. And then you can ship those to us from KDP if you want, buy author copies that are super cheap. Ship those to us. We bundle it in a nice package so they're getting your book, your workbook, a deck of cards, whatever. And you just build on that, all that work you put in to write that book. Now you've got you could turn that into multiple products. If you're an artist or a photographer and you want to create greeting cards and journals using your artwork, we're your people.
Nice. This is so exciting. Hey, our interview time is coming to an end,
Okay.
and I want to ask something I ask every guest out there. And since you've been in the business for quite a long time, because you weren't even just with Vervante, what, 20 years
Yep.
now? Is that?
24.
And then prior to that, you were working with
Mhm.
Xerox.
20 years. Yep.
So I have a feeling you're probably going to have a great answer for this one, and that's going to be, what advice do you have for aspiring authors and self-publishers out there?
Patience and persistence. If you've got a passion to do something, do it, and then just stick with it because it doesn't come easy. Whether it's the marketing or the writing or the creating your website, building your brand, it just takes time. And I think those people, you don't have to be the smartest cookie. You just got to just keep doing the tasks to build the business, write the product, create the program, whatever it is.
You've been listening to the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast. Visit us at selfpublishingwithdale.com for more information on how you can level up your self-publishing business. Also, check out our growing video-on-demand service, chock full of free and premium content, when you head over to theselfpublishinghub.com. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review on your preferred podcasting platform. We thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.